Well, howdy doody, and welcome back to episode 4, series 2 of Thumbs Up the Photography Show. We hope you're enjoying it so far. The adventures, the banter, and the lovely shots. Oh, that surely is enough to make even the most seasoned misery smile. So let's crack on with the show.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Thumbs Up the Photography Show. And as well as the usual shambolic mess, this week I'm going to take you back in time. A time before VAR. A time before the alpha range of cameras were even a glint in Mr. Sony's eye. A time, in fact, even before digital. I'm going to introduce Steve to a very special lady. So let's go over to the Highlands Pass, see what he makes of her.
Sorry?
No,
Yeah.
you're all right.
You owe us a tenner.
20 quid.
If you pay now, it's 20 quid.
Steve and I are at the Highlands Pass, and I want to introduce you to an old girlfriend of mine.
Right, okay, very interesting. This is a strange place to show me a girlfriend, isn't
It is, isn't it? It is indeed. Her name is Norma.
Norma.
She's 60 years old.
Okay, right, okay. A young lady for you then?
And she's just over there. Yeah, so this is Norma.
Okay.
And Norma is a 5x4 monorail camera. She's called, the make is called Sinar, and it's a Swiss make. And it was made, these were released in 1963. In today's prices, about 2 grand. A big investment. And she uses this is 5x4 sheet film. I'm going to undo this one because it's already been folded, but this is what the film looks like.
Okay.
Each film is that size.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it has a, you can see the notch at the top.
Yeah.
Each film make has a different notch. So the idea is when you're in the dark, you have to load this in complete darkness, you can feel, first of all, you can feel which way to put it.
Yeah.
Top right, slide it in,
yeah.
And then you can also tell which film it is. So that is FP4.
Right.
Okay, black and white. That slides down, and then in the dark, slide that in there, and shut the dark slide.
Yeah.
In, ready for exposure.
And that's loaded?
Yes, and that's loaded, ready to go.
So obviously you have to do that.
Pitch black, and you have to load it and unload it in pitch black.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you look, this side is white, unexposed. That side is black, exposed. So when we load it back and we turn it round, so we know that we've exposed it. Okay, because there have been a few multiple exposures. Now I used to use Norma. I used to be a school photographer many years ago, and I used to use Norma quite a lot. And we would do whole school panoramics on her when we were still using film. We would just crop the middle section out and print it out.
Wow.
And you'll see it's got very little autofocus capabilities or exposure meter capabilities. But what we'll do now is Steve and I will put this together, and I'll talk you around Norma and how she works. And this has to go on this tripod, and I'll show you why in a sec.
That's copper as well, isn't it?
I don't know what it is.
That's copper.
I'll tell you what, it's bloody heavy, is what it is. So, what happens with this, here she is. So to get that onto the tripod, see the screw thread?
Don't tell me you got to spin all that round.
Yeah, no, you've just got to do that. This is called the front standard.
Yeah.
This is called the back standard.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the middle is going to be the bellows, which is going to be dark. The lens is going to go on there.
This is your focus. Yeah,
There's the focus, look. So that focuses it. But the other thing that you've got is it will do this. And
That's like tilt shift.
That's tilt. This is rising front.
Right, okay.
Okay. Obviously you can lower it as well. And then you've also got shift.
Would you do that to like for distortion and things like that?
Yes. So this was used a lot, or this was designed really for things like architecture. What you do is you get a spirit level and make sure this is level. And if this is level and the building's level, which you'd hope it would be, then the two things are parallel. And if you photograph a building like that, you'll find that the sides are straight.
Straight, yeah.
the problem happens when you tilt your camera up.
Yes.
Because then it converges. So what you can do with this is you can make sure it's parallel to the building and then use some rising front, and that makes the image, you get the top of the building in.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's
like a tilt shift.
Absolutely.
It's
so
exactly the same thing.
But now it's all on the lens. This is the actual camera.
You know what? This explains what a tilt shift, what a camera does.
It does.
You know, because it's so mechanical.
Yeah.
You pick up a camera.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything but point it and shoot.
Yes, absolutely. And I've said in one of my videos on my channel a long while ago that all you need really is a place where the film is, or the digital sensor, a lens, and some bit in the middle that's light-proof. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And that's how pinhole cameras works.
Yeah.
So these are the bellows, and we fixed that in here. Back bit's fixed.
Yeah.
Now we fit the front. So it just goes into the groove, and then we just pull this slide up. I'll push the slider down, and that's now fixed. Next bit, and this is, I'll show you that, a Sinar. What's focal length for this? About 150 is about a 50mm equivalent to full frame, and we've got various things on here. Lenses themselves are not particularly expensive. Here we go. It's a 5.6 180, so it's slightly more than 50mm, and we've got various things. You cock the shutter like that, you fire it like that. You see that? Let me show you that.
Is that the remote? This little
remote? No, it's not.
Oh right.
No, exactly. No, you would have thought it is.
Yeah.
But it's not. This is quite unique to this lens, but I'll show you how it works. And actually, what you could also do with this, before I move on, is you can actually unscrew the lens. It's like build your own camera. That's technically the lens. That is the aperture and the shutter.
Can I just have a look at that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
You know, this is a proper lesson.
In
the
basics.
It is the basics of photography.
Yeah.
And it's like stripping a car down to its bare.
It is. Yes.
Bare shell, isn't it? But you've got to put it together for it to work.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to construct your camera basically.
Yeah.
Everything has been well made, but the shutter and the aperture in there are what control the exposure, and the lens is what focuses the image onto the back of the screen, and then you just simply
that lens
clip it on.
That lens is just on a flat plate basically that fits onto the machine.
Yes. And all of these lens boards are different sizes depending what camera manufacturer you're using. A Sinar board may not fit a lid-off board, but there's about 3 different standards, and it's the same as camera.
It's as a
camera lenses. Your Sony won't fit my Nikon.
Yep.
Right, so what I've just done, so just have a look around the front here. This is a cable release. We used to have these with DSLRs, but like that. So basically what this does, as you know, that fires it, because this is the shutter, but what you don't want to be doing is pressing it and rocking the camera. So that screws in there.
So you've got to, because you can't.
There's no self-timer on it.
No, there's no.
There's none of that. You've got none of that luxury now.
It's just proving more and more the technology in a new mirrorless camera. All this
is taken for granted.
In that little black box.
Yes.
And
electronics.
More.
Yeah, and more, and loads more.
Unbelievable.
And loads more. So, so what you do is you cock the shutter, and then.
So
let me listen to that again. Listen.
Oh, goodness, Sam. Yeah, but you know what? Right, we'll just talk about shutters. Do you think it's important, the sound of a shutter?
It is.
Oh, isn't it?
It is.
It's like shutting a golf door, isn't it? A car.
Yes,
car door.
It's got to go. It's got to go right, and this is the sound. I used to have a Fuji camera, and they've got different shutters you can program, and that was the one I always had.
That is beautiful. The sound of that is beautiful.
Yeah. That was the sound of pressure. I've got 300, 400 kids looking at me. Have I done it right? Right. So, shutter release. Cock the shutter, fire the shutter.
Yep.
Shutter speeds are on the outside here. We've got everything you could ask for, well, as long as you're only asking for 1 second to 400 of a second. There's no thousandths of a second. There's no
1 second to 400th of a second.
Yeah, there's B and there's T, so you can have the shutter open longer. So that's all good. So B for bulb.
Right. Okay.
T for time.
Yeah.
So B. When you have
so
it
this
on
is
bulb,
again. This we're going back to.
Yeah.
This is where bulb comes from.
That's where it all comes from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So B bulb. As you,
Yep.
while you keep this pressed in, and this cable release has got a little lock on it, so you can press it in, lock it, and if you're doing a long exposure, then you unflick it, or you can go
and then
press. Time it, or you can go time, press it once, and then press it again. That's the easier one to use.
Yeah.
All of those. Now this thing here, which you thought was cable release, when I thought exactly the same when I first saw it, is not a cable release. This is the aperture ring. There's the aperture.
Yeah, so you can see that.
Okay,
yeah.
and then if I move this, you can see the aperture closing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have it wide open to focus.
Yeah.
And then we have to close it down to shoot. So the next thing, we've now got the lens wide open. Okay, I'm not worried about exposure yet, and I don't worry about the shutter speed yet, but what we're now going to do is we're going to go under something called a dark cloth, because the next thing we've got to do is put the scene in focus.
Well, I'm up at Broadway Tower.
I'm in Brighton this morning, away for the daughter's birthday, but while I was here I thought I'd grab the opportunity to try and grab an iconic shot here at Brighton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk just a little bit further down here towards the pier. Conditions this morning are not what I expected, if I'm completely honest with you. As I started to walk down, it looked quite nice. There was a little touch of colour in the sky, but as I've got a little bit further down here, the actual pier itself, looking over there, is completely at the moment shrouded in mist. So let's see what we can do with this. This is not what I banked on. I was hoping for a nice sort of kind of high contrast, fine arty kind of looking scene, but we'll work with it and see what we can do here. So a little bit walk down here and let's see what we can frame up.
Now Martin, you are on my patch, sunshine. Welcome to the south. Now these are not normal conditions, but you do have a lot to work with in the area. So good luck, fella, good luck. Now this is what remains of the West Pier that was burnt out in 2003. Every year there is less and less of her, and there's a lot of us documenting her demise. We're all rather sentimental about her. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Sentimental.
So that hasn't quite worked out as I expected. What you don't know is I actually came down here before the fog rolled in and actually grabbed the shot. But through the magic of editing, I was hoping to bring it all together, grab the shot and do the video piece afterwards. I didn't account for this fog. So you're going to have to excuse me, but that's just the way things work with video recording and video editing. But as I say, I have taken the shot, did a long exposure using my 10-stop filter on the front of the camera, and set an exposure of about 1 minute 42 seconds at ISO 100, and it just really smooths that water out really quite nicely. But this fog that we have was actually doing us a favour, because I was only hoping to try and get kind of like a sort of fine art kind of minimalist scene with this photo, and yeah, I want to actually remove the horizon. Now, part of that job has mostly been done by the fog this morning, so it should work out quite nice. But let me just talk you through how I actually calculated the exposure for this shot using PhotoPills. So once I've opened the app up, I go to the exposure option. In this case I was using f11, so I set that in here, and also set the current exposure without any filters on, which was 1/10 of a second. So just move to that. ISO was 100, and then what I wanted to do then is put in what the equivalent settings are. So we know it's still going to be f11, we know it's still going to be ISO 100. But in here I then set that to a 10-stop because I was using a 10-stop filter. Hit OK, and it gives me, as you can see here, a 1 minute 42 second exposure. So what I'm going to do now is hand you back over to Steve in the studio, better known as his man cave, to show you the edit on the photo. Over to you, Steve.
Oh, fantastic, Martin. I can't wait to get my hands stuck into this edit. If you want to know how I actually do this edit, a step-by-step edit, then join me in the community area and I'll show you exactly how I do it.
So earlier you saw me introduce Steve to my friend Norma, and shortly he might actually get his hands on a dark slider. He might actually take a photo, but first let's go over to Louise in the beautiful South Downs.
2025 gave us some fruity weather down here on the south coast, with some extremes of sunshine and then this. But after this weather, something more interesting must come along, surely.
Crikey, look at those skies. A bit on the dramatic side. Well, it has been a day of rainstorms and drama in the sky. And I've come out tonight to recce because tomorrow should be a little less dramatic, but should be able to throw some light on a scene that I'm quite interested in.
I'm lucky enough to live on the edge of the South Downs National Park, with varied scenes that keep you interested right the way throughout the seasons. Picking out the more intimate scenes in arable landscapes is a bit of a secret passion of mine. But what truly brings those landscapes alive is when that side lighting hits, emphasising the sensuality of the curves of this beautiful place. And every now and then, a secret treasure is revealed, enchanting dog walkers and photographers alike in its beauty. It's scenes such as this that get us out of bed at stupid o'clock, grabbing our kit and heading for the hills. Enough of this soppiness. Right.
So for landscape photographers who have a little bit of a penchant for the old wildflower, bluebells and wild garlic are clearly something that we treasure. However, after they are over, there's a little bit of dearth of stuff until we're waiting for poppies and maybe even sunflowers before we go on to heather. This year in West Sussex in particular, we have had a real treat. Swathes of Phacelia, which have coated our fields in purple. You have no idea how difficult that was for me to say. Now in this ultra moody light, it does look a little bit grey. However, if you get a little bit of side lighting, sun kissing the tops of it, it looks pretty spectacular.
Well, that's a theory, anyway.
Now I am absolutely not dressed for a photography recce, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you've just got to grab your kit and go, even if you are going to get sploshed on very shortly.
Now back to that side lighting theory. I was basing it on 4 visits to this wonderful location, which is about 40 minutes from where I live. I was principally there to capture the impressive poppies, and I really wanted a bit of side lighting. However, stormy skies prevailed, and the colour remained intense, a lesson I was about to learn big time.
And this is the stuff that I am talking about. It's a little bit past its prime, but with the long lens on, I reckon I can get something nice with the South Downs in the background. Today's just a quick recce because it needs light on it. I'm loving some of those ridges in the background in the distance, those typical South Down curves, but it really does need sun to bring the scene alive. So when I come here, hopefully tomorrow night, when in theory it's going to be rather splendid sunset coming from that direction, just behind the old Blan up there, well, it should be a very different scene. But at least I now know where the heck I've got to go. Day 2, not as much drama in the sky, lots of skylarks and a bit of sun. We're going to have to wait for it to poke out under the clouds, but we'll get there.
You say that now?
Innit?
Yes.
Things I've got to think about. I've got 2 lenses, the 24-105 and the 100-500. The 100-500 worked quite well yesterday, but I had no light. So we'll see how that goes. I might want to get a bit of a close-up shot of the lovely purple colours, in which case I've got to switch lenses. Now, another thing I've got to take into account is whether or not I focus stack, because if I have immediate flowers in front, middle and distance, well, I need to make sure they're not all blurry, because sometimes that can be a creative decision. Other times it can just be darned distracting.
Well, I couldn't really have got more of a different day than yesterday. Gorgeous puffy clouds in the sky, but the one thing I hadn't anticipated is the effect of the sun on those colours.
Right, I've actually got my sun in the background, which is great. Now, when I'm looking at my scene, it's picking out the wonderful curves of the South Downs, which is great. What I'm actually here for, though, is the Phacelia, and yeah, problem is rather like bluebells, the sun is slightly washing it out, so
Bum.
I don't know.
Double bum.
So with a scene like this, however I compose it, if I'm doing focus stacking, traditionally I've done 3 shots. 1, 2, and 3. Problem is, it has been leaving me lacking at certain times with little bits slightly out of focus. So what I'm doing now is at least 5, which may be overkill, but I don't care.
Well, to say I'm disappointed would be a slight understatement.
So it's a little bit of a 1 or 2 hit wonder this, and I'm going to just see if there's any other compositions. It's just so nice to be out on a pretty much midsummer's day and
This is the crucial bit.
have the place to myself
Oh yeah,
with him
of course.
and with the birdie wordies.
Child. Well, to be honest with you, there wasn't much more. So we sat and we pondered. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel really frustrated when you're sat in front of a beautiful scene that just doesn't translate into a good photo? I think I'm just more annoyed at myself. I totally forgot the effect the sun has, and it still was lovely to be there. Ah well, next time.
The things that I love about the South Downs are these kind of zigzaggy bits and bobs in the background, or the curves as I call them. To me, that's just what is very special about the landscape that I live in. And by the way, I live somewhere just over there, and it's just so nice to see it in a very different perspective. Well, I'm going to hand back to somebody, somewhere. Who cares? I'm here. They're there.
Professionally handled.
Latest chaps.
Thanks, Louise. Really enjoyed that. So now it's time to go back over to the Highlands Pass where Steve and I are with my friend Norma. And this time we might actually get to take a picture. Right, so the next thing, Mr. Stain is now going to do this for the first time ever.
Right, okay.
This is called a dark cloth, and it's weighted.
Right, it looks
Stops
heavy.
it, stops it blowing off the front of the camera.
Right, okay.
Okay, so that goes over there.
I assume as a reason, obviously black,
Black
and
is
the
so,
red
yeah.
as well.
Red shows that you're under there, so people aren't going to run you over. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And black is because you want it as dark as possible. This is called a loop. It's like a magnifying glass. And Steve's going to get under here with the camera, so he's going to bring you with him. And we're going to try and focus up the scene, compose the scene.
And we focus with this?
With this. That's called the ground glass.
Right, okay.
Okay, and you focus by moving this
That one, yeah, okay.
forward and back.
Right.
We haven't composed it yet, mind you, but
No,
that's
right,
the first
okay.
thing to do. He's going in.
I'm going in. See you later. Hey, I could see. It's upside down. You put the camera upside down, Dave.
Yeah, no, the camera, that is actually what's happening. So all the light, or the image from the top of the image from the sky is going into the lens in a straight line, and because it goes through a central point, it's going to end up at the bottom. Everything from the left is going through the lens through a central point. It's going to end up on the right.
So it's back to front and it's
reversed.
It's left. Yeah.
So if you want to move, if the image needs to be further left, you have to move the camera right.
Okay.
I would focus, if I were you, on the bridge.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
But it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. I think that's in focus. The bridges.
Cool.
It's actually quite a nice shot, is.
It's good,
This
mate.
is amazing.
It's good.
It's absolutely amazing. Just makes you appreciate what you've got in your pocket, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, in your camera bag. It's really
Actually, it's really weird because the depth of field is so shallow that if I get the back of the bridge in,
the front ain't in
the
focus.
front ain't in. So I'm going to focus on the front.
Yeah.
Right, so we have composed the image by moving the camera physically, the tripod and stuff.
Yeah.
We have, I've used a bit of rise in front because when you look through it, you said all you could see was grass.
Yes.
So obviously I want to get more sky in, so I've moved the lens up. And if you imagine the image is going to be a circle, we're just seeing a rectangle of it.
Yes.
So we've we looked through the lens, which is wide open at 5.6. You just about managed to focus, not easily, but we did it.
Yeah.
And I can do it just as that's why you need one of these loops. Okay. And then we've just shut this. We've just shut. If I just do that, and then we've just shut that off.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if the lens is open and we put the film in,
It's destroyed
ruined it.
Yeah.
It's going to overexpose it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we mustn't touch this camera, because if we move it, we'll have to go through the whole thing of composing it again, focus it again, which we don't want to do. So the next thing we've got to do is got to take an exposure reading. Okay. Now with digital, we know that with digital you don't overexpose your highlights, because once the whites are blown, they're called, we say the highlights are blown. They just look horrible. With film, it's the opposite. So what you don't do is underexpose your shadows, because you can't get those blacks. It becomes completely black, and you can't get any detail out of them. You've got to
push it
and overexpose it a bit. So what I do, and what we used to do back in the day, actually not in the 60s.
In the 80s.
In the 80s when I was...
made in the 60s.
You made in the 60s when I didn't shoot with it, because I was a baby. So back in the 80s when I used to use this, and the 90s, we used to expose for the shadows, and then raise it by 2 stops. That's a good rule of thumb. Okay, if you're really struggling. But today we've got such flat light here, and we have got some shadows on the bridge, but
that is about it, isn't it?
Yeah, but the grass is really nice as a mid grey. And what your histogram, and when your camera on program or automatic, it always tries to look at the scene and make everything a mid grey.
Because what we would be thinking of if we was taking this scene, we would be thinking about, I want to keep the detail in the clouds.
Yes, definitely.
So you're looking at the highlights. But you're looking at, I want to keep the detail of the bridge.
Yeah. Although in this case, I'm not really that worried about it particularly, but there is some detail in there.
But that's the thing
what
you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about the highlights of the clouds, you're thinking about the shadows, the dark detail.
And what often people will do, they'll take a metre reading of the grass, a metre reading of the sky, a metre reading of the shadows. They'll look at the 3 of them. They'll decide what range of exposure value. Because the exposure value 1 and exposure value 10, you're going to lose stuff. So what you might have to do, as you do with the histogram, is shift it. For one or the other.
I suppose it's a bit like we do when we've taken an image, that we're not putting it on 0.
No, exactly.
We're pushing it,
moving it to get
normally
what you want.
To get what we want.
Absolutely.
So,
and there's still that skill involved, so that's still the same. And actually, Ansel Adams did all that with the exposure zones, and he was talking about putting the exposure zone on this. So that's where it comes from. It's called exposure value, really. So, little quick guess for you then. This lens goes from 5.6 to f/45. We're going to use f/32. 125 ISO, used to be called ASA. What do you reckon the shutter speed's going to be? This is the game we used to play.
Dave, I haven't got a bloody clue.
Okay, I'm going to say...
I was trying to think in a digital form.
I'm going to say something around 15th, 8th.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's have a look.
And then if we put a 10 stop on, we'll get a minute exposure.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. So we've got this app on here, so you can see that I've got the ISO set for 125. Because that's the film that we're using. I'm going to go aperture of f/32 for maximum depth of field. And that's giving me a time of, see that going up and down?
Ah, right.
Half a second, 1.7, quite a lot, so almost 2 seconds. So we've got a little bit of an issue with this particular lens. Nothing wrong with it, it's a brilliant lens, but it hasn't been used for so long that actually, if you listen, Steve, if I put this on to 1 second, this is supposed to be a 1 second exposure.
5, 6, 7, 8. I don't think it's going to go.
Still going.
Still going, it's still moving.
And the fact I have to force it.
Yeah, it's not going to...
Gone. So the problem with this, as you can see, is it's sticky. Now this is Swiss built, so precision engineering like the watches. But it has 2 springs at the lower ends, and they get a little bit gunked up, or they don't work, they slacken. So I don't want to be shooting that camera at what that says 1 second, but it isn't.
Using the mechanics of it.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're just going to practice this, but I'm going to put it onto B for bulb. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
And if I shut down to F45, that's giving me a 4 second exposure. A bit of reciprocity, say 5 seconds. Okay. So
and you're going to do this manually now?
I'm going to do it manually. So I would go,
because we can't trust the shutter speed on the lens. Yeah.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Done. That's how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Okay. And we might do it twice, but obviously we won't know whether we've done it right until about 2 weeks' time.
So we're going to try 2 films?
Yeah.
We could mess 2 up then.
We could, yeah. Okay, so the next thing is to put the film in. So we've got the dark, these have been loaded by me in my daughter's bedroom the other night, okay, when she was downtown watching telly. White means I haven't exposed it. Okay, there's a couple of little latches on here that hold it in place.
Yeah.
And this is going to go, again, careful not to move the tripod, it's going to go in there. And it's actually laid exactly the same line as the ground glass.
Right, okay.
So where are you focused?
Yeah, or so it won't be in focus.
Yes. So we know it's in focus. I'm going to put this in, slides along, and again it's very easy to not put that in properly. That's in. Okay. I didn't move the camera, but it's in.
Yeah. So
now I'm ready to shoot. Film is now in, and that's taken the place of the ground glass, so that's where the lens is focusing. It's now 2 seconds, it's telling me. Bit of reciprocity should be okay at 2 seconds. So, ready to go. I'm going to cock the shutter. I'm going to stop down to F45 using, you're supposed to be able to push that, but this is so old that it won't work like that. There we go. So that's down F45. So here we go. Cock the shutter. I'm going to pull the dark slide out. That's now exposing the film to whenever it happens in the lens. And check our scene.
Okay.
Done.
Fantastic.
So that is 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Dark side now.
So you've just flipped that card round, so you know that's been used.
Yeah, that's the dark side.
It's an exposed image.
So that's that one. We'll just do another one.
Yeah.
Might do this at 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So, same thing. First thing we've got to do is just pull the dot.
The whole point of this is a real education. It's a real photography education. It'd be lovely if we got an image out of it.
I think we will.
It really would.
Yeah. I'm hoping
and
that's
it's going to be a real nice image of a bit, look.
Yeah.
I suppose the other thing we've got to think about is
composition.
Cars coming, cars coming by.
Yeah. So we're going to wait because there's a van that's just coming over the bridge. That's gone now. Everything looks all right. So.
And you're going to do it for 3 seconds, weren't it?
Yeah.
Unless it's changed again.
3 seconds.
Okay. We have got a car coming, but you're all right, Dave.
Hello and welcome to this week's One Shot Wonder. I'm at a place called Patak Falls. Interestingly enough, on the Patak River. Scottish Highlands and typical Scottish Highlands weather. It keeps raining, I keep getting soaked, but without that rain, you won't get these rivers and you won't get these falls. Got myself nicely set up, vertical orientation. Well, with that much flow, shutter speed is everything, and I've gone a lot faster than I would normally do. I'm going about 1/10 of a second, 15th, even a 20th of a second. All the usual slow ones are in the bank, but yeah, I think that's the nature of the beast today. I'm just looking up that narrow gorge and you can see there's more white water coming around the corner. So I'm going to get this shot in the bag. At the moment I've gone vertical, but for belt and braces I'll probably get a couple of horizontal shots as well. But yeah, looking at that white water coming through that gap in the rock up there, I think there's more up there, so we'll go for a little walk through the woodlands, through the forest, see if we can find another scene. Maybe we can make this into a 2-shot wonder rather than a 1-shot wonder. Let's have a look.
Well, it's not often you get a combination of majestic trees, lovely rocks and powerful water. Good spot, Suggy. Well done for not stopping at the obvious as well. Surely there's got to be something else there. Some hidden treasure. Oh yes. And a subtle touch of autumn colour just hanging on. Very nice.
So I think I found myself a lovely little scene just as the heavens open again. Just looking down the River Patak, this narrow little gorge, and at the head of the gorge is this one single tree, absolutely popping with autumn goodness. Oh, just really nice golden tones. So I got myself set up, zoomed in. It's a simple composition. River flowing in that bottom third. Plenty of drama. It's in spate at the moment. I was just talking to some kayakers, and they were just checking out the water flow. And even they admitted that today they're probably going to have to admit defeat. It's just a little bit too high for them. Not worth the risk. I don't know. I used to do extreme sports. I used to do mountain biking, and to me, a trail were a trail, and you adapted to the conditions. I guess when there's a risk of drowning, you've got to be a little bit more serious. So as I say, simple composition. Set myself up. Shutter speed wise, it's quite fast moving water, so I've started at a 1/6 of a second, but I've actually gone a little bit shorter, a little bit faster, just to see how that looks. But belt and braces, I've done a few longer ones as well, 1/2 a second, just to see how that'll look in post. That's a decision I can make later. Better hurry up. This rain seems to be coming down heavier, so if this image is any good, if it's beyond mediocre, here it comes now. Well, forgive me for making this one-shot wonder a two-shot wonder, but there's not much else here at this location, or certainly not much that I've found. And the rain, well, there's only so much you can take before you feel too wet and you've got better places to be, like the warmth of a car. So I'll hand you over back to one of the other guys.
So I'm heading over to go and meet Colin at Chesterton Windmill for something I've never done before, which is photographing in a thunderstorm. I hope you can hear me okay, because the rain that's coming down on the windscreen at the moment is absolutely torrential. Really is. Got sort of rivers across the road, so I'm driving a little bit slower just to be a bit careful. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Colin's done it a few times, so I'm hoping to get some pointers from him. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. I do love a good thunderstorm. They don't happen very often, it seems, in the UK, or it certainly feels that way. So yeah, when you get opportunities like this, you've got to have a go, haven't you? So it's about a half an hour drive away. Let's go and meet up with him and yeah, see how we get on. I have got my waterproofs, really important. So yeah, I'll chat to you when we get to the other end. Right, so before we go and try and make some photographs of this storm that's coming in, and it does look like a real good storm is coming in. The rain out there looks absolutely horrendous. I think we're going to get drenched, Colin.
Well, I certainly think we are.
Yeah, but on that point actually, we were just having a chat, weren't we?
Yeah.
On how to stay safe when you're out trying to photograph thunderstorms, because obviously they're a force of nature, they really are.
Yeah, well, some people can be white idiots, can't they?
Well, of course they can. But you're in luck, because we've got some really handy tips to help you stay safe when you're out photographing thunderstorms. Number 1, don't stand on top of a hill like Colin is now.
Poor Colin, he's toast.
Number 2, don't stand under any tall trees like Colin is here.
The man's got a death wish.
Number 3, don't stand too close to any metal objects.
You're on your own there, mate. Crikey.
Number 4, don't stand too close to any water sources.
Things we don't need to see.
So I hope you found that little segment really useful on how to stay safe when you're out photographing in thunderstorms. I think we've covered pretty much all aspects of safety when out in storms. With all that said, unfortunately the thunderstorms just didn't seem to materialise. However, I did manage to come away with some really nice images from this trip. So here's some of my images from later on that afternoon. And also, as an added bonus, some of Colin's images from a previous trip to Chesterton Windmill.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you did, press the like button, and maybe if you really enjoyed it, think about subscribing. It really helps us out. And if this is your first time here and you don't know who Thumbs Up Photography are, go and check out our website, thumbsup.photography, and there you can find links to all of our social media, our workshops, our exhibitions and our competitions. So that just leaves me to say thanks ever so much for watching once again. And here's Louise with what's coming up next time.
Coming up next time on Thumbs Up the Photography Show, Gary gives Dave some much needed waterfall advice. Martin meets up with Steve Vaughan to do some street photography. Gary is at Crackpot Hall. Don't say anything. No, really, don't. Steve is inspired to get philosophical by a lonely tree. And yet again, we nearly lose Colin. Honestly, that man's got a death wish. Until next time, stay safe, unlike Colin.